Welcome to the Harris Family Ranch. If you haven't been here before, if you have, welcome back. Thank y'all so much for joining in with us again. Today on the docket, fairly mild day. We got some appointments later on in the afternoon. Doing chores this morning. I'm fixing to go out and feed steers, and Poppy is already running a hay cutter out there. But we'll try to go along, get you some good footage, maybe give you some good information if you hadn't heard anything. But this is it. This is us. Here we go. There's a phrase we use around here quite often. It's called, I think it's seven P's. Let me count them, hold on. Yep, 7 P's. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. We have failed to prior properly plan. Let me tell you what that means. Scoop and feed. What that means is we haven't received our overhead feed bin yet. We're still waiting on shipping hauling company come through. It's ready. I think we're gonna maybe come together maybe next week. We still haven't received that. So in the meantime, we're still scooping buckets for our little boys out here, and we've been running our little feeder in the Kubota side by side, the RTV, where we're filling that feeder up and running about 3 days with it feeding, and then having to pull the super sacks out, reload the feeder and all that. And anyway, that's a process, but it's better than buckets, which is what we were doing. So we're trying to get to a more streamlined process, which is why we have the overhead feed bin, as well as we know, or we hope, through our beef sales and all that, that we get to start carrying more head out here, more head of steers, and sell some more beef to our customers and all that. With that, there's a temporary system that we've had to put in place in order to make the program work, which I detailed to you just a few minutes ago. That system requires us to fill that feeder in order to do that. That is not a one-person job, just because of the logistics of taking the feeder off, and I won't bore you with all of it. It ain't a one-person job. We got to have 2 people here. Well, the past couple days, we haven't had 2 people in the same place at the same time with the priority of filling the feeder at. So what does that mean? That means the feeder didn't get filled. So that means all them steers way down yonder got to get fed with buckets today. Because like I said, Poppy's on the cutter laying down some hay, and ain't nobody else here but me. So again, it's a 2-person job. So I'm fixing to fill up a bunch of buckets to go down and feed steers. So prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. But the first priority is to get our little young jewels down there fed, which they get fed with a bucket every day anyway, because it's just a little bit of feed until they get big enough to be able to compete for their share and not get bullied around. We're gonna grow them big up here by the house. Get the feed poured into the trough there. I'm gonna get the lane all shut off. Sorry about the hand. We'll get the lane all shut off so that I can turn them in here. Let them get some some good growing medicine, aka feed. And then I'll leave that gate open down at the end, and they can just walk out at their own pace whenever they're ready. The ideal, once everything's here and outfitted and working correctly, is that the system will work in a way. The system will work in a way that we just pull that side by side up under that feeder and fill it whenever we need to fill it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Boy, it's starting to look good. So we just pull that, like I was saying, we pull that feeder. Feeder sits in the back of the side by side, and eventually it'll probably graduate up in size over time, but we're just going to stick with it right now. And it gets pulled up underneath the overhead feed bin, pull a lever, it fills from the top, and the feed company, whenever they deliver feed to us, all they do is just drop it in the top of that elevated feed bin, and we don't have to deal with super sacks in a container anymore, with pallet jacks and all the things, right? It's a good thing, good deal. We're excited, we're hopeful for it, so hopefully everything goes off without a hitch and we don't have to worry about it anymore. In the meantime, I gotta fill buckets. Yay me. This is how it goes sometimes. All the things we got going on. We had a little left over in this barrel that we use just kind of when we do a feeder fill. We'll put some in this barrel here, and it's usually what we feed the youngins out there with. So a little bit left, I'll go ahead and empty it because sometime today somebody's got to fill the feeder. So we'll empty this. I'm about to head over to the container where we got the super sacks in and get the rest from out there. Anybody else getting any rain lately? I was just out there dumping water out of the buckets from the rain that blew in under the barn. We got a bunch of rain here lately, almost like every day for the past week. Some have been good showers, some have been kind of nasty showers that cause a little extra work for us and all the trees out here. But all in all, quite a bit of rain, which we love it. We're thankful for it. It helps the grass grow, which is kind of what we're in the business of, turning grass into protein. But yeah, the downside to it is Texas in the summertime. So when it rains, usually after, the humidity is very, very high, just to put it mildly. And I'm kind of a big fella, not in height wise, but in rounded shape, and makes me sweat. So we're gonna deal with it. It's life, it's home, we love it. But it is hot, and the humidity is high. Sweating. We get a question a lot of times like, why are you feeding? What's the point? We get people ask us those, we get comments or questions or whatever. I thought you're supposed to be grass fed. We are grass fed. We don't ever hide that fact. Our cattle get all the grass they could want. I mean, let me show you. I want you to look out here in this expanse and look at all that grass. Currently, there are no cows on this piece of property because we're letting the grass grow so that our cattle can get as much grass as possible. This grass is in the growth phase of our rotational grazing. I'm about to set this foam down in the middle of this grass. You get the picture. Our cattle are grass fed. They may not carry a grass fed stamp, but what they are not is they are not grass finished. And what grass finished means is that all they ate in their life was grass. No feed, which is fine. We don't have a problem with people that raise their cattle that way. There's a certain market for that. It just ain't for us. We believe in providing a good quality product to our customers. What does that good quality product look like? If anybody that's ever had a steak of a grain finished animal versus a grass finished animal knows what that product looks like. What are the reasons we eat steak? Well, steak is because it's good, right? It's good. It's tender. It's flavorful. It's a good choice cut of meat. You don't get that unless you grain finish. And here's why. When you go look at a cut of meat, whether you buy from us or you buy from the grocery store, all the things, what makes a steak flavorful and tender? It's the intramuscular fat inside of that meat. So there's proteins and there's fats, and I won't bore you with the science of it all or whatever, but basically what it boils down to is when we give our cattle a grain ration every day, they are grass fed, they are free range within the boundaries of our property. They are free range. They do not stand in a feedlot every single day and only get fed a ration, and they don't stand next to the next one. They're not elbow to elbow, talking about 100 head on 5 acres or whatever. We don't do that. We don't believe in that. We don't support that. So our cattle do this. There's a group of our steers out there hanging out under the tree because, let's be honest, it's Texas, summertime, it's hot. If they ain't eating, they're laying in the shade or taking a drink from a water source somewhere or even wading in it. Those steers right there get to do whatever they want inside the perimeters of this property. And we rotationally graze them to give them as much grass as they want to eat. That's what we do. And then every day, if you'll look right out there, there's some troughs out there. Because they're at where they're at, we move troughs down here so we can feed them every day. And that's what I'm about to do. So all that to say that the grain ration that they get, it helps bolster and boost the amount of intramuscular fat that they put on in their meat to produce a good quality steak, good quality ground beef, because you have to have that fat mixed in there in order to get the flavor and the tenderness that we feel like our customers deserve. That's not to take away anything from somebody that does completely grass-fed, grass-finished. My hat's off to those people. They have a market of people and individuals that are looking for that kind of product, and I'll back them 100% because of what they're trying to accomplish and the customers that they're trying to reach. So regardless of whichever way you do it, it's about trying to provide the best product to your customers, and that's all we're doing. And here comes the rest of them coming out of the woods. So that's why we feed. That's why we set up this program. That's why we set it up, because we know that if we wanted to go and buy beef from somebody, that's what we would want. And so we try to put that best foot forward, as if we were in the market to buy. Anything that we offer on hfrmarket.com is the direct result of what we're doing here. And so this is the way we believe that we're accomplishing what we set out to do. So come on, see what happens. So you get the gist. That operation currently is usually done by the feeder in the back of the RTV, where we come drive down next to the troughs. We just pour the feed in out of the automatic feeder. Well, I say automatic, we push the button and it comes out. But we still have to fill that feeder. Once we get the overhead feed bin here, we'll no longer have to do that. We literally drive under the feed bin, fill it up, come down here, pour it out in the troughs, and we're done. So you can see how we're trying to expedite the process, as well as over time, hopefully the herd will grow, and we'll be feeding even that many more animals. But you see, they love it. That's what they want. So we give this to them every day, usually in the morning time, and then they'll go graze or drink or go lay down, whatever they want to do after they leave here. And then once the grass gets mowed down good enough for them this way, then we'll let them back through that gate down there, and they'll graze over on that section, and they'll just come and feed in the lane up by the house at that point. Heads down, tails wagging. That's what we like. Get big, boys. Trying to figure out the best place to put y'all. Let's see if that'll work right there. I'm gonna feed behind us first. Try to get some of them off of us, because they like this stuff. I know you find that hard to believe. So they were borderline run you over to get to it. I'm gonna try to spread them out a little bit. So they won't bug me. But they will bug you. It's like candy to them. So you can see where this process would be very time consuming if we were to do this every day. This is an isolated experience for you. All right, now that that is done, animals have been tended to. Poppy's been running the running the cutter since he got home. What we do on our other pastures is cows don't just eat in the spring and the summertime, they gotta eat in the wintertime too. We gotta figure out how to feed them, or not figure out, but the way we do to feed them in the wintertime is we set aside a portion of pastures at the ranch to harvest hay. Mostly native grown grasses. In our area, we're shooting for coastal Bermuda. We harvest coastal Bermuda, but also we get a lot of Bahia grass in too. So we have some fields that do better than others with quality and all the things, right? So there's probably a whole video we could do on that stuff. But all that to say, Poppy is laying down some grass in one of our hay pastures so that we can bale it up here in a few days. Good Lord willing. So my next task is probably going to be relieving him on the tractor to cut hay. But we'll go check it out and see what he's doing. We grazed this pasture the first part of the year as the rye was starting to spring out, so it's not the best at all. What we're doing is we're cutting this off to just get some mixed grass hay. Basically, it's not real super high quality that will feed the first part of the winter, so that we can make room for good coastal, good Bahia growth without any weeds or anything like that. So basically cleaning off the field. But we'll go ahead, we'll roll it up. They'll eat it, but they'll also be supplementing their diet at that time with good. They'll still have some grazing that they'll do when we're feeding this, so it won't have a bad effect. It's like it's rationing basically. We're cutting. So he's got the mower attached to 3-point there on the back of the tractor. We would prefer to have probably a caddy behind it because it can kind of be a pain sometimes, but it works. It gets the job done. And that sickle bar folds up when you're not using it. I say sickle bar, it's not a sickle, it's a rotary cutter. And then it folds down like you see it now in the position whenever you're using it. And it just goes along and it basically works just like a lawnmower, other than the fact it's not mulching the grass. It's cutting it down at the base and laying it over. You can see out there in front of it, standing up. And as the mower passes over it, it lays it down. And that's what we do. We just go and make right-hand turns. And that's it. Alright, let's see if he needs some relief. We're getting there. Just finished up my shift on the tractor. A bunch of appointments to go to this afternoon. Poppy's taking over. We'll finish it up. If he's not done by the time I get back, my turn in the barrel again.